You've probably tried quitting habits before, cold turkey, using willpower, being stronger tomorrow, only to boom, fall off and go right back to where you started. But what if instead of trying to stop and quit these habits and struggling with them, you just swap them out for a different habit? I did that, and I can show you how to do the same thing step by step. Now, I remember I went out to my front yard back when I was living with my parents, and I saw this massive anthill, and I need to get rid of it because it was in the spot where the cars park at. Who knew? Who knows? A car could have rolled into the anthill unknowingly, and now ants get into the car. I don't know. That's what I was thinking at the time. So I grabbed the water hose and I started spraying the mess out of that anthill. I mean, that mess, when I was done, it was just a flat ground. Like there was no more sand piling up, no more ants. It was done for. Well, tell me why the next day I come outside and another anthill has popped up and then it's bigger than the one before. And obviously it wasn't immediately the next day. I'm pretty sure it happened over time. I just didn't notice it until it was big enough. But the thing is, I got rid of that ant hill, but I didn't really get rid of the ants. They just popped up somewhere else. And that's what happens when you only focus on the surface and try to get rid of what's on top without digging deeper into what's causing it. And that's what a lot of us are doing with these habits we want to quit. We just stay at the surface without going a little bit deeper. I mean, I was hanging out with my friend and this song came on and she started dancing, doing something I've never seen before. And she stopped and laughed and said, "Oh, I gotta quit TikTok. I really need to quit TikTok." And when she said that, I immediately knew she wasn't gonna quit it. It was basically like her spraying an anthill, just spraying the surface of it. Yeah, okay, you want to get rid of the problem, but you don't really want to because you're not diving deep into it to flush out the core. Why are we doing these habits in the first place? It's because we aren't being intentional. That's literally it. We aren't doing the habits we want to do because we don't know how to be intentional about changing our habits, about quitting habits. Who taught us how to do this? Nobody's teaching us this. You want to know what society's teaching us? Society's teaching us how to pleasure ourselves endlessly, entertain ourselves endlessly, how to listen to authority, listen to your teacher, listen to the police, listen to your employer, and it's teaching us how to buy everything and never save money and just consume, consume, consume. That's what our society is teaching us. But our society is not teaching us how to be better humans. This is knowledge we've got to seek out for ourselves. And I spent years learning this knowledge, and now I finally feel comfortable enough to just talk off the top of my head. Not completely off the top of my head. I have points that I'm going through. But to just sit up here and talk about my own experiences to help you learn how to control your human behavior a lot better and a lot faster than it took me. Regardless, intentionality wins at the end of the day. We cannot continue just scratching at the surface. We gotta dig deeper. So the next question is, how do we dig deeper? How do we be more intentional? Well, it all starts with knowing what we want to stop. We have a choice. We can choose to continue down the path we're doing, or we can choose to do something different. And if you want to do something different, being more aware is going to be a major key in doing that. Be aware. What habits do you want to quit? I remember back when I was first starting, I really wanted to stop eating so bad. I wanted to stop eating so much junk food and fast food. I wanted to stop playing the game so much and spending hours just gaming. I wanted to stop waking up so late and going to bed late. I wanted to stop saying these things I was going to do and not doing it. There are so many things I want to quit. I want to quit being lazy. So you got to think about what are the habits that you yourself want to stop. And the best way to help yourself stop it is asking yourself, how can you make it more difficult to do the bad habits? And no habit is bad per se, but just to kind of add different coloring, I will say bad habits, but either way, you want to ask yourself, how can you make it harder to do the bad habits? So, for example, back when I wanted to stop playing the game so much, I had to ask myself, how can I make it harder for me to play the game? Well, I do have a game system. What if I just got rid of it? I didn't want to throw it away or sell it, so I just gave it to my best friend, and I can get it whenever I want. But I never did. I just gave it to her, and when I came over to her place, we would play it. So that drastically cut down how much time I was playing on the Xbox. When I had my TV, I was watching it a lot. I wanted to stop watching it, so I gave my big TV, it was big, to one of my best friends as well. And so you see, like I just really made it, but I made it harder. But there are some things I couldn't get rid of, you know? Like I couldn't get rid of my dad's Xbox One, and that was still tempting. So you know what I did instead? I would just take the batteries out of it. So then I had to get the batteries first to play it, and that was just a little difficult. I didn't feel like doing it. I was lazy, so I just wanted to play the game. What about social media? We have social media on our phones, and it's easy to just get on there. What if you just deleted all the apps off your phone? Or what if you just made sure you were signed out every single time you went onto Instagram, TikTok? To deter myself from getting on YouTube, I literally put a shortcut that every time I open up YouTube, airplane mode comes on. And now I have to turn off airplane mode to get on YouTube. But because the extra step is there, I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like having to wait for my internet to reconnect, none of that stuff. So I just don't get on YouTube unless it's something I really want to get on. So there are ways to make things harder, but just being aware of the habit you want to quit and trying to make it harder for you to do that is a good way to be more intentional. But the only problem is once you quit this habit, you're going to have more time for something else to come along. We're always going to have habits that rule us, but we have to be more intentional about what habit we want to rule us. It's like with the anthill. Yeah, I'm going to spray this one anthill down, but now it's opening room for another anthill to come up. No matter what you do, you're always going to default to having habits. And this is the step most people overlook. They just think, I want to quit this habit. But it's like, okay, you've quit it, but now what? The, the room is open for somebody else to come in. The space is open for something else to come in. It's like when somebody says, I'm going to stop smoking as much and they default to drinking more or eating more fast food. Like another habit pops up. So we want to be intentional about quitting the bad habit, but also putting in the good habits we want. Now my alarm clock is going to go off in a second, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and turn off the alarm clock and then get back to the video. So give me a second. All right, I'm back. Anyway, we were talking about habits, and you want to be intentional about the habit you want to bring into your life once you quit the old habit or make it harder for you to do the old habit. So, next, you want to think about what habits do you want to do? I remember back when I wanted to quit all those habits, I also wanted to work out more. I wanted to read more. I wanted to write more. I wanted to meditate. I wanted to work on my business. There are many things I wanted to do that I just wasn't doing. So for you, what do you want to do more of? Shoot, I even want to learn how to juggle, and eventually I did. So what is it you want to do? Once you figure that out, ask yourself, how can you spend no more than 2 minutes a day doing those new habits? So for me, I want to get to writing, so I would write one word a day. I want to get into reading, so I read 5 pages a day. Want to get in meditation, I'll meditate for 30 seconds a day. I wanted to get into working out more, so I would go outside and just stand out there so I could be more in nature, and then I would eventually start walking more. But I just started out thinking about the smallest thing I can do to do that habit, and I want you to do the same thing too. And I'm gonna explain why only 2 minutes. But for now, just follow along and think about how can you break the habit you said you want to do down into 2 minutes. Once you have that figured out, the last step is putting that habit, that 2 minute habit, into this formula. I would do 2 minute habit at time or event and environment. That's all you got to do. That's all there is to it. Now let me break down each element, and then I'll go through an example of how you can use this formula in your daily life. So the 2 minute habit, we already figured that out. You've already figured out the habit you want to do, and you broke it down into 2 minutes. Time is easy, 5 p.m., 6 a.m., 12, 15 p.m. Event is special. It is something you're already doing. So for example, you already go to work, you already take a shower, you already talk to your mom, like you already do these things. These are things you already do. And then environment is just where you are. Kitchen, bathroom, office, outside, bedroom, living room, the gist. So how can we use this formula? What does that look like? I'm going to give you examples that I used back in the day when I was first getting into, reading more, meditating, working out, things like that. When I wanted to get into reading, I said, I will read 5 pages a day after I drink my morning glass of water in my bedroom. So after drinking my morning glass of water, that is an event. That's something I'm already doing in the bedroom because I already know I'm going to be in the bedroom. So boom, it made it easier for me to do that. For writing, I will write 1 word before I eat breakfast at my office. At my table, really, because I didn't have an office at the time, so in my table. Boom. The event before I eat breakfast. The behavior, write 1 word. 2-minute habit. 1 word. When I want to get into meditation, I will meditate 30 seconds at 8 a.m. on my bed. Boom. That's as simple as it is. But making these habit plans and following it out will make it a lot easier for you to do these habits. And now you may be wondering, okay, but why 2 minutes though? 2 minutes because you want to be consistent in it, consistent enough that then you change your identity. And you cannot be consistent if you try to do too much. And that is something we all are at fault of doing. I remember wanting to get into the gym, and I would always tell myself, I'm going to do an hour 3 times a week. That's way too much. So many of us set the bar way too high when we haven't even built up to that level. We go to level 100 when we need to start at level 1. This is how you start level 1. This is how you can keep showing up for these habits without having to fight the feeling of not wanting to do it or burning out or wanting to procrastinate, because it's so much easier to write 1 word or read 5 pages or do 5 push-ups instead of having to write 1,000 words and read 2 chapters and do 100 push-ups at however much time you want to do it per week. This is really going to help you build the habit, and this is something you consistently do. And not only that, but the law of motion states what's in motion stays in motion, and what's out of motion stays out of motion unless activated by a force of energy. The 2 minutes allows you to have that energy to get started, gets you into motion, because it's easy to say, well, it's only 1 word I'm writing. I can just go ahead and open up my laptop and just write that 1 word. It's easy to say, I'm only doing 5 push-ups. I might as well get on down there. I'm not doing 100. It's easy to say, I'm only reading 1 page, 5 pages. So let me just get the book and start reading. But what you don't understand is once you get started, you're more likely to keep going. Okay, so this stuff really works in your favor. Now, considering you've made your habit plan, you want to make sure it's somewhere you can see it daily. If you wrote it down on a piece of paper, hang it somewhere you'll constantly walk by, so you'll be reminded of it. I normally have my plan on my wallpaper. I change it every night, so I'm constantly reminded of what I am doing. And make sure that whatever you need to do the habit is in the environment you're going to be doing it in. So for example, when I told myself I was going to write 1 word before breakfast every day, I made sure that I didn't shut down my computer. I made sure that it stayed open with Google Documents on it. So when I opened up my laptop, Google Documents is right there, and I immediately could write. I made sure that I slept my pillow with my book on my pillow next to me, because I knew when I woke up I drink water and I want to read the book, and the book's right there. So now I don't have to worry about getting up and getting it. It's right there. I can just open it and then start reading. You want to do these things. They're small, but they are really impactful and influencing your human behavior. Now, making a plan like we did with your habit is a big step in being more intentional, as well as knowing what habits you want to quit and making it harder for you to do that stuff. But that is not all it takes to live more intentional. There are other things that are going to come up that will try to pull you back onto this default mode of living that I don't want you to fall back into. That's why I made a course, Live by Design, that will cover everything you need to know to live with more intention every single day. Check it out if you are serious about it. It is the first link in my description. And let me know in the comments, what habit are you going to be adding into your life, and what habits are you going to be quitting? I can help encourage you, and so can anybody else who happens to see it. Now, understanding of the habit loop is very crucial in developing better habits, and I really recommend you reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. That changed my life. It will change yours. If you don't feel like watching it, reading the book, then I do have a full video guide on how to create habits and how to get rid of habits, bad habits. It'll be in the description as well. You can check that out. But if you take this information and you are more intentional about how you move and how you get rid of these habits and putting in better habits, you will see a change in your entire life because you're changing what you're doing. And if you change what you do, you change what you get. But ultimately, that's not completely true because it's more so if you change who you are, then you'll change what you get. But you can also change who you are by changing what you do. Like it feeds into each other. But if you don't follow any of this, if you want to keep doing what you're doing, you'll continue getting what you're getting. And if you aren't happy with what you're getting, then I'm highly suggest changing something. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, you know the gist, and I will see you for the next video.